I always tell people that I know agents that can help them all across not only the country, the world. And I have created a series called Agent to Agent, which is proving just that. And today we are going to Pittsburgh with Jordana Zober Cutitta. So stay tuned and learn all things Pittsburgh on Relax, I Got This.
A real estate transaction is potentially the largest investment we make in our lives. Whether you're buying and selling your personal home or investing in real estate, you need the knowledge to make the right decisions. Get ready. Robin is a Texas realtor and has the experience to give you the information you need to make the right decisions. Welcome to Relax, I Got This with your host, Robin McCoy.
Hi, everyone. Robin McCoy. Welcome to another episode of Relax, I Got This. And as part of our series, Agent to Agent, where I talk to my co-op agents, my friends, other agents across the country, and just introduce you to them. And today we are in Pittsburgh with Jordana. Hey, Jordana, how are you?
Hi, Robin. Thank you so much for having me. Great. And it's a beautiful day here for Pittsburgh, considering it's February. It's probably about 40 and sunny, so that's exciting.
There you go. See, sun shines, right? Sun shines. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, how long you've been in real estate. Have you always been in Pittsburgh? Just kind of give us a little background. I can't speak today.
Okay, sure. I've been in real estate since 2004. I don't know how it went so fast. Everything went fast, but I have not been, it's not been a dull moment in the past almost 20 years because I got married. I have two wonderful children, almost 15 and almost 13. So we're in the teens. So it's
that's exciting.
It is. Yes. Exciting. That's right word. And I actually lived in a lot of places like you, Robin. And I've lived in other countries. I've lived in other cities, and my family's from Pittsburgh. My mom. So when I was in high school, we moved to Pittsburgh, and then I went to college at Pitt, moved away to Philadelphia, and came back in about 2002, 2003 to get into real estate investing. I was in the tech field at the time. Okay. And I just sort of, I was getting my MBA, and I just thought, I'll just get my license. And, as most of us just sort of fell into it. And almost 20 years later, here I am.
I'm just going to do this for a minute. And then it's 20 years later, right?
And every year I'm like, sometimes there's challenges and you're like, that's it, I'm doing something else. And every once in a while I'm like, if someone offered me another job, maybe I'd take it, but I haven't applied for another job in 20 years. So I don't know what else I do.
I don't even know how to apply for a job.
I don't either.
Other than the job of selling someone's house or helping them buy a house. That's the only job I know how to apply for.
Now, my husband, he's a chiropractor. He has his own practice. So I've helped him build his between that and our investment properties and being a realtor and a mom. And it's been busy. And I just customer. I do a lot of community service stuff, nonprofit stuff. So it's allowed me to live the lifestyle I want to live.
That's awesome. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment.
Not here. Nope.
So let's talk about Pittsburgh a little bit. So if we've got people out there that either live there or are thinking of moving in or around Pittsburgh, tell me a little bit about, maybe where you service. Do you service all of Pittsburgh? Tell me kind of how that's broken down and what the market looks like.
Well, the thing about Pittsburgh that's pretty incredible is that because I've lived in other big cities like Chicago and Philadelphia, which are great towns, but in Pittsburgh, you can be half an hour away and you're in the countryside to downtown. So it's pretty neat. So you can be in the suburbs and be 15-minute drive and right into the stadiums, which is, I was always a city girl my whole life, living in cities like Chicago, and I lived in Jerusalem as a kid, and always cities. And my husband wanted to move to the suburbs about 12 years ago, which I went kicking and screaming, but I went and I love it now. So but I wouldn't go too far outside the suburbs. So I'm about 10 minutes into the suburbs, and I love my community. But because of where where my house is in Pittsburgh, I feel like I'm pretty centrally located. I know the city really well. So I can get to the city in 10 minutes. So I can get to, now Pittsburgh's funny about people. We have second largest number of bridges after Venice, although some people say more than Venice. So and we have a lot of tunnels and hills. So
Really?
People are very much, so people are very much divided by, now before when I started, we didn't have GPS. So people really stay in their own area, and we are not on a grid, not like Chicago or New York. So people really stay, and still to some degree, still to this day, if you're in the north, you stay in the north. If you're in the south, you stay in the south. And, I would always joke around if someone grew up in the south and looking at a house in the north, and I said, your family lets you move here? Some people are like, I'll never see you again, and it's really not even far. It's 20 minutes away, but it's traffic patterns that people are like, I have everything I need right here. So actually in the city of Pittsburgh itself, we have like 60 some neighborhoods. And then, and there's only 300,000 people who live in the city. And then there's 1 million metro. And there's so many neighborhoods, townships, and they all do things a little bit different. So that's kind of fun. It can be challenging. And I think the benefit I have is I've been doing this so long that I know most of the townships, what they require. And if not, I can figure out we have a lot of regulations, like to sell a house, you have the townships involved.
Okay. I was going to ask you, what kind of things does a township require?
The township can be, okay, so sometimes it can be occupancy permits, it could be a dye test, but the hardest one that some of the townships have is the sewer line inspection. And that one can be, it's a lot of work as an agent sometimes. So that's where like my expertise definitely, it makes a difference because it's.
Well, yeah, experience comes in with knowing that, and I don't know the difference between a township and a city or a suburb, I don't know how those are defined. Yeah, they're all defined differently. We don't have townships in Dallas, right? But we have different cities and then certain enclaves of cities, and we have historical districts and historical overlays and this and that and this. And it is important as an agent and as a consumer to find people that understand that A township requires this, B township doesn't, but they want you to do this.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say, Robin, because some of the townships are really small. Like it could have 2,000 people. They got their own rules. So I can't say every single township that anyone is totally expert on, but as long as you can figure out how to get the answers you need. But yeah, I mean, so Pittsburgh itself is in Allegheny County. And so that, and then from there are other counties. So it's a mess. I'm not going to lie. I remember moving from Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is a grid like New York. And it was like, okay, I'm south of South Street, north of this. And when I first moved back, people were just go around the river and turn
and over the bridge. Which bridge?
Yes, yes. And a big Pittsburgh thing is, and this is how you know someone's assimilated to Pittsburgh or from Pittsburgh, is when you say, go past the store that used to be there that burnt down 5 years ago. They replaced it. Someone else bought it. Then it closed down again, and now it's an Arby's. So that's how you know. That's really, like, okay, you're from Pittsburgh.
You're from here. You're legit.
or you've gotten used to our culture here.
Something. So you've been back. You chose to move back to Pittsburgh after adventures elsewhere, we'll say. What do you love about where you live?
Are you looking to buy or sell a home in the bustling DFW area? Look no further, because I am Robin McCoy, your trusted real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty. For over 15 years, I've been helping buyers and sellers navigate the real estate market here in DFW. So whether you're looking for your dream home or aiming to sell your property for the best price, relax. I got this. As a seasoned professional, I'll guide you through the entire process, ensuring a smooth and stress-free experience. I understand that buying or selling a home can be a significant decision. That's why I pride myself on providing exceptional customer service. I'll be with you every step of the way, answering your questions and addressing your concerns. So why take a chance with just any real estate agent? Choose me, Robin McCoy, the professional who has proven my excellence in helping both buyers and sellers in the DFW area for over 15 years. Call me today at 214-226-3770 or visit my website at robinmccoyrealty.com. Let's make your DFW real estate dreams come true. Relax. I got this.
You chose to move back to Pittsburgh after adventures elsewhere, we'll say. What do you love about where you live?
Well, I like to say that, and especially my little neighborhood I'm in now, I like to call it Mr. Rogers neighborhood. I mean, it really is. Mr. Rogers is from Pittsburgh, and I've lived in a lot of places, like I said, and I've traveled. And in Pittsburgh, we're actually on the we're right on the border of West Virginia and Ohio. So even though we're kind of like Midwest meet Northeast, so yeah, some people that like we are Greater Pennsylvania for Keller Williams, but I am 6 hours from Philadelphia, 5-6 hours. I am 20-30 minutes from West Virginia and Ohio. So we really have that genuine, when people say good morning, it's like a real, I mean, it's real. It's real. Yeah. And so, that's one of the things I love. Everybody knows everybody to some extent, even though people say, my kids love to say, everybody. I'm like, hey, they're like, there's 50 people at a restaurant and one person. I don't know 49 others. So I don't know everybody. But I do I just love that things are convenient too, because in bigger cities, to get to the zoo or something would take you an hour. Here, 15 minutes to the zoo. So especially when my kids were little, I mean, the children's museum, everything's close by and affordable. So it's very easy and that's one of the reasons people move to Pittsburgh. A few reasons: the universities, the hospitals. So even though it's cold here, we have people moving from a lot of warm climate, especially older people, because the hospitals are so good. And honestly, I take it all for granted when, we really have, UPMC and which is one of the best hospital systems in the world. So we do have a lot of people coming for the hospitals, the universities. We have a lot of universities.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's, I think a lot of times people even go to they want to go to the university. So they go to school there, they graduate, and then they stay.
Well, it's interesting to say that, because when I went to Pitt and I graduated in 98, and a lot of people wanted to leave. A lot of people were from right outside Philadelphia, because it was as far as you could get and still be in-state tuition for them. It's true. And then from right outside Philadelphia, that was very popular. They couldn't wait to get out. And now the past 10, 15 years, people want to stay. We have also, because of the universities, Carnegie Mellon, which is one of the top tech schools in the world, University of Pittsburgh and others. We have, Google is here. We have Duolingo. So a lot of tech companies have opened up here. We did have Uber and Argo. They're not here right now, but a lot of self-driving cars here. So the reason and the technology, so we're a big tech hub because of the universities. So like Carnegie Mellon is huge in robotics. So we have a lot of robotic stuff going on in Pittsburgh.
That's interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of times, and I've never been to Pittsburgh, so I flew into Philadelphia once. That's as close to Pennsylvania as I've been, because it's cold up there.
Not in the spring. The fall's pretty too. Yes,
but we don't think. I don't know. We have this idea of what Pittsburgh is, and don't think of it as a tech hub or a hospital medical center. Like, Houston's medical district is world famous and ginormous, and Dallas is getting just this huge medical district. I don't think people think of Pittsburgh in that regard.
Well, if you think of like Jonas Salk, he was the founder of the polio vaccine. There's a lot of people who are of course, I'm drawing a blank, but the first person who did the Starzl did the first transplants. We have, a lot of that. And so because of the tech meet, also the hospitals, we have a lot. Yes. And so, in fact, a friend of mine who works for the Eye Center, she went through University of Pittsburgh. She said, like a top eye, I don't know if he's a surgeon or I have to look into, but he moved to Pittsburgh of all places from France, because they I don't know, created a facility just for him, and he's one of the guys. And so we really do have so that's interesting you said, because I think there was a time where people from out of town only saw us as steel mills and dirty, and that was a time. And that's interesting if people still think that, because I'm surprised how many people come. We've had a lot of people move here who just, they're not coming for a specific job, especially younger people, and saying, I looked it up, it's affordable, I can get a job, I can live the life I want to live. And so people just randomly like moving here, which is kind of surprising from that.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned affordability. What is kind of the median, for a 3-2 house, right? A 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, what is kind of the median price in Pittsburgh these days?
So it's interesting. I know in Texas they say a lot of like 3-2s. Are like you said, we have a lot because it's an old steel mill town with old money, right? Carnegie's,
right.
And we have areas that are, a lot of old homes, and we have like post World War II, in the city, in the suburbs. That's mostly what we have. We don't have brand new. And it depends on the house, to be honest with you. In the nice suburbs, obviously the higher ranking school districts,
sure,
obviously, but they tend to, but even in the highest ranking school districts in Pittsburgh, you can get a house for $200,000. That might not be the nicest, or it might not be the most updated, but you can live in almost
it's a livable house. It's a livable house that you might update as you go along.
Now, that being said, in those same neighborhoods, you could have a $5 million house because the Hineses live there, or the football players live there. But it's affordable enough that if you really want your kids to go to a certain school and you're willing to be in an apartment, that you can make it work, which is something I do love about Pittsburgh too. There's really no limits to areas, unless it's kind of you just don't want to be, your choice. Right. Now, we actually have areas still that you could buy a house under 100,000, less and less. But that's where, as an investor, attracted me, because Pittsburgh is behind the times. I don't say always has been, but I think Pittsburgh really got hit after the steel mill shut down in the 80s. A lot of people moved away, and people became very conservative. And I'm not talking politics. I mean, just like we never
with their spending and with their lifestyles.
Yeah, so it never went really crazy bump high and then down like some places do, except for a few areas the past, 5 to 10 years, because of this boom of technology and the universities and things like that, and people coming from San Francisco and places like that. Sure. And so I would say, I think our average is probably about 250. But that being said, we're all, you like I said, if you're far enough out, believe it or not, Rob and I sold a house for $5,000. I was so proud of myself because I negotiated it from $9,000. That was several years ago. I said, who else would do that? They'd be like, you have to buy it for $9,000. I'm like, nope, I will still negotiate at any price. So, being I've traveled a lot internationally too, everything's negotiable. So, so I don't see it as you have to pay this. It's like, hey, I'll still fight for you. So actually, my average sale price this January was about $250. And I had 3 closings. Last year I had 3 closings in January, and I think it was $35,000. So
it all depends, right? I mean, and I think that's funny. I think us realtors are frustrating to people because they'll ask a question and they just want the answer. Unfortunately, the answer is it depends.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It depends on what neighborhood you want to be in. It depends on, how old of a house you want. It depends on your financial situation and your credit score. So unfortunately, the word "it depends" is pretty prominent. I
find that is most difficult with out of town investors when you say depends.
Yeah. I
find with like people looking to buy their first home and move up or move down, or I don't think, at least here, they're as challenged, because we sit down and we discuss, like, here's the pro of this, here's the con of that. But I feel out of town investors think, just find me a deal. And it's like, well, okay.
That depends. So right. You started out as an investor.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of investing were you doing? Or are you doing?
I do residential real estate. So I actually bought my first house in Philadelphia, just south of South Street, and I paid about $80,000. I was working in the tech field, and I sold it for a couple of years later for $2 something. And it was a little alley house in the city. And I mean, I did work, but it was like a little house. And was like, oh, I like this. And I saw
That was a nice little turnaround, right?
Well, I saw the writing on the wall in Pittsburgh that a Whole Foods, that's what I mean. We're behind the times sometimes, and people complain, oh, we don't have a Whole Foods yet. But it's one of those build it and they will come. So then Whole Foods opens and it's the #1 in the country. So I knew Whole Foods was opening up here, and I saw what it did in Philadelphia. So I started investing in a neighborhood that has appreciated tremendously since I started investing there. I look for up and coming neighborhoods, and I always like to say the sign for me, it's the price of coffee and a glass of beer. That to me is so if people are moving to the area and there's a new brewery and coffee shop where it's, more expensive and people are going, then that's a good place to invest. And it's interesting. People say to me, well, that was so smart. You bought in Lawrenceville and 2003, 2004. And I said, right now, there's an opportunity right now today that in 10 years from now, someone's going to say that about you if you take that opportunity and that risk. But 20 years ago, those same people said I was so smart, didn't necessarily think I was so smart. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, life is risks. And I know James was saying earlier, I didn't get up early, but I was listening to it. And he said some people was it not risk, but he said some people like something like that. And I thought, challenges. I thought, I don't like it at all, but I somehow end up getting stuck in it all the time.
Well, and you're right. Things that we do, buying a house can be a risk, right? Mm-hmm. Selling your house at this and pick a time, because when's the best time to sell or buy a house? Right now.
You're right.
Right now.
You're right.
And, there's nothing that is risk-free I think in this world, but even sitting in your living room on your sofa is taking a risk, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing that's risk-free.
You're right. You're right.
So as a person that lives in Pittsburgh, what are the things that you do? Where do you go to eat, and where do you take your kids, or, what do you do for fun?
Be the leader you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the 4th Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
So as a person that lives in Pittsburgh, what are the things that you do? Where do you go to eat, and where do you take your kids, or, what do you do for fun?
Well, it's funny because we're like in that in between age where they're doing their things, and,
and they don't want to be around you.
we're sort of taking them around. We drive them around a lot. And then also, so as far as like when the kids were little, like I said, I'd like to, the museums, we have so many museums. We have within like 15, 20 minutes. Now that the kids are a little bit older, as far as restaurants, the nice thing is, again, we have people from all over the world because of the universities and hospitals. We have all different types of restaurants. You name it. And some people say, well, we don't have as many, let's just say, Mexican restaurants as Texas would have, or they're not as authentic or good. But then someone will open one, and everybody's so excited, and they end up doing really well. So like we just got I don't know if you ever see the sushi go rounds where they're about, okay. So a lot of people travel. I've been to some all over the country, all over the world, and they opened one here. So of course, it was like you had to wait like 2 hours to get in. So,
oh my gosh, for sushi.
Oh yeah. People, they are very, people want something to open that people like dim sum. We have dim sum restaurants, but we don't have them with the carts. And I'm telling you, first one who opens it with a cart, that is going to be a jammed place. So, our main food, like as far as our, what we're known for is really fatty, delicious food. And I think a lot of it is because of the steel mill and the people, working in the steel mill, and now maybe sitting around and still eating. But we like Permane Brothers they put French fries and coleslaw salad on our salads. We put French fries and ranch dressing. So it starts healthy, and then we're like, no,
never mind.
and then yeah. I mean, obviously some people are healthy, but I wouldn't say it's that. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't say, and someone might be mad hearing this, but I wouldn't say like it is the healthiest as far as, like San Diego. But I'll tell you this much: if you got a health problem because you ate too much or heart problem, we got the best hospitals to fix you.
Fix you right back up.
It's true, though. It's true.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but as far as other things, I even have to think about it. I mean, just like anything else, concerts.
Yeah.
I took my kids to Taylor Swift. I never would have done it if it was just me. It was my kids. We didn't overpay for the tickets because I was in the lottery and I won it. But for me, it was a lot of money, I thought. But
I go sell a couple of houses to cover that.
Exactly. And we have Drake tickets. So, we have people, we have just like any big city, ice skating, skiing is close by. It's just about, you name anything and you could probably do it.
There you go. So it's like a little something for everybody. And, it sounds like I said, we don't know what we don't know. And if you've never been to Pittsburgh, then everybody's got everybody thinks everybody walks around in cowboy hats in Dallas. Well, they do that more in Fort Worth, but even in Fort Worth, we're not all like riding our horses.
Now, I do know you have Armadillo Roadkill.
We do have that.
Yes. My cousin got married there when I was 16, and that's the one thing I remember.
We do have that. Absolutely. So we've got coyotes in the yard and we've got things like that. But
you guys are pretty flat too. So going right, kind of like, oh yeah, I was in Dallas for family reunion too. I forgot. But because it's flat, people probably are also willing to travel. Like my husband being a chiropractor, he's gone to some conferences and people are like from Colorado go, oh, sure. People come half an hour away. Not in Pittsburgh. They, if it's not within, people will travel, but they will go to China before they go to another part of town that's going to be.
Like, I'm not driving over there.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
Dallas Fort Worth is full of freeways, right? If I really sit and think about how I commute, I go freeway to freeway to freeway to freeway off and then I'm there, right?
Like DC.
Yeah, it's just everywhere. And so that's not uncommon for us to say, oh, well, it's 30 minutes away. Oh, it's 45 minutes away. As long as you're not in 5 o'clock traffic, which will then add 15 to 30 minutes to any commute.
Well, so in the city, people who live in the city tend to not want to drive at all because you have, it's very hard. The streets are we actually have the steepest street in the world in Pittsburgh. And is it world or country? I'm pretty sure it's the world, but we'll just say the world. And I took my kids on there, when I had to homeschool them on a field trip. But we have a lot of people. We have cobblestone streets, narrow streets. So
that's true. Because how old is Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh as a city is how old?
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, like I said, Carnegie, all the old money was here.
Yeah,
so, a lot of our houses, we own property from the 1800s. That's not unheard of either. People are fixing them up and flipping them. But what I always say is like the old houses, they, you can't build them like you used to. But you have old problems. The new houses, they have different, they're not built as well, but then again, you have, newer stuff. And then there's the post-World War II. That's mostly what we have, those three things. And the post-World War II, those are, pretty good in terms of, but even still at this point, post-World War II is a long time ago. So
yeah, no, I was going to say that's getting a longer ago too, as we sadly, it's like we used to say post-World War II. Oh, okay. Now it's like, how many years now is that?
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty new. It's like, no,
not anymore. Not anymore.
For Pittsburgh, it is somewhat new though, honestly. But once you're out in the suburbs, some of the other counties have like been developed and developing. So we have so many people that come from out of town who go, okay, like yourself, who go, what's half an hour? I'll just go on the the highway.
No big deal.
But a lot of Pittsburgh people still, some have adjusted, but some are still like, I stay in my neighborhood. So we have a lot of people, certain areas, we have a lot of people who've moved here from other cities because they're comfortable with, well, it's only 20 minutes on the highway.
Yeah. So it's all, and just like anything else, it's all about where you've spent your time, right? And what is it sounds like Pittsburgh has a lot of areas for a lot of different lifestyles.
Oh, absolutely.
For what a person, maybe whether they're coming from Dallas or Chicago or Maine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a variety of lifestyle choices.
Absolutely. And our friend Elaine, she specializes in farmlands. So she's out about 45 minutes from me, and she goes all over for horse farms. Yeah. So I know you guys have that too in Dallas, but I don't sell horse farms. Like, that's a little bit out of I do city and first ring suburbs. That's not that I wouldn't go sell a horse farm or haven't sold in the country, but it's not really my wheelhouse. But I do have some, a lot of people do move. I shouldn't say, I do sell some of the country with people who've moved to the country because of what you're talking about. Yeah. People go, okay, I want to move from the city to the country. And I've helped those people. Or move back, like, okay, I want to be where things, younger generation.
I tried this country thing, and I need to be closer in now.
Yep. And I think my benefit, I'm sorry, because I know so many of the areas, when people come here, I can say, okay, like, do you like to public transportation? If not, are you okay driving in here's why you want to be in each area. So.
Well, and that's important too, because like you said, people moving in for the hospitals or the universities and things like that don't necessarily know how it all works, right? We have a lot of public transportation in Dallas, but it's not the most efficient way to travel. Okay. And coming from San Francisco, where I didn't even have a car, coming here, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to get a car. I've got to, so having someone that understands, okay, if you like public transportation, these areas are served well. If you're okay with driving, this is probably going to be good for you. Being able to help people narrow down what's best.
And you have a good point, Robin, because I feel like, I started a time before, I don't want to say the internet was already up, but a time before you got all this information online. But the thing about information online is there's so much of it. So just talking to people who have been here a long time, help people in different areas. But we do have also a large senior population. So I took a client, some buyers out from out of town, and I said, well, young people move here. And they said, well, we're in our 40s. We're not young. I said, oh, in Pittsburgh, that's young. Like, if you don't have gray hair and a cane, you're young. Like, I don't know, but we do have a big senior population. In fact, one of the biggest. And I think it's just affordability in the healthcare is a big part of it.
It would be. All right. Well, what is one thing about Pittsburgh, as we wrap this up, that you want to make sure everybody knows?
Oh, there's so many things. Oh my goodness, Robin. But I would say so one thing I think is just the people. It just all comes down to the people. The people, everybody who comes here says that. The people are just nice people for the most part. I mean, I'm not going to say everybody is, but for the most part, people just help each other. If you're lost in the streets, it's like old school. You can really ask somebody, hey, how do I get here? How do I do that? And it's genuine. I'm not going to say always and everybody, but
that's never true.
But for the most part, people, I mean, I actually went to go put a shopping cart away one day, and this guy goes, just hand it to me and I'll throw it to me and I'll put it away for you. And I just wheeled it to him, and I'm not sure that, from hearing from other people and traveling, I'm not sure that happens everywhere anymore. And I think a big part of that has to do with our affordability, because we don't have that stress of, not being able to afford it, so that we're constantly hustling. I mean, plenty of people hustle, but you know what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today and telling me all about Pittsburgh that I didn't know.
Thank you. I'm glad. This is amazing. Thank you for having me, and come visit me. I'll take you to the Steelers game.
I will tell my husband. Yeah, see, Steelers and Pirates. We didn't even talk about the sports teams.
Yeah, we have Steelers season tickets. So come on down. And it took us only 20 years to get them. So
oh my God, so hang on to them forever, right?
Oh, that's how it goes. Your people will them. Yeah, it's a big deal. Steelers.
Yeah.
Come and we'll take you to a game.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Jordana. I really appreciate you being on the show today. This has been really fun for me. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of our Agent to Agent series on Relax, I Got This. And this is all about Pittsburgh. So make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for Relax, I Got This with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and our guests and to access your free buyer and seller guides. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This with Robin McCoy.